Hey, I'm Beth with 50 Plus Beauty, and I'm excited that you're here with me today to learn about the 7-Day Mental Diet. This is a fabulous little book that I found on Amazon. Actually, I was watching Tony Robbins because in the morning sometimes I'll listen to Tony Robbins speeches, and one of them was about this little book, The 7-Day Mental Diet. So I was feeling kind of negative at that point. Maybe this was 6 weeks ago, something like that. I don't know what was on my mind, but something that wasn't totally positive. And I realized that one of the reasons I wasn't being positive is just a habit of sloppiness, of letting myself just by habit go to ingratitude instead of gratitude. And after I did this, I really liked it, and I thought it would be something that I would share with you in a video. And then I kind of got into other videos and other things, and I forgot about it. But yesterday, for some reason, I was watching one of my videos, and I really never do that. I'm so busy making new ones, I don't have time to listen to the old ones. But I was watching one of the old videos that I had, and it came to the card, the thought for the day at the end of the video. Well, the card was about gratitude, and it was all about how we could all develop the habit of gratitude. And even when I did the video, I said, habit of gratitude. That is so true. Gratitude is just a habit, and so is ingratitude. And I realized sometimes in the first half of my life, I let ingratitude really come to me way too many times. And I would go to the negative way too many times. And in my negative thinking, the glass was usually half empty rather than half full. And I realized in the second half, that was something I needed to change. Because ladies, you know, we may have 30 years left, 40 years left. I don't know exactly for any one of us, including myself. But all I know is one thing, and that is that I don't want to waste a minute of this second half being negative and depressed, because life is too short. I want to develop the habit of gratitude and happiness and optimism. And this little book really helped me. And I'm putting a link down below. It's on Amazon and it's just a few dollars, but it is a very worthwhile book. It was written by this man, Dr. Emmett Fox, and he was born in the 1880s and he died in the early 1950s. But he was really into positive thinking. He was a good Christian, but he was very much into the idea that we are what we think. He says here, the most important of all factors in your life is the mental diet on which you live. The mental diet. He goes on to say that like food is really important for our physical body, that thoughts and what we think is very important to how we live our mental life. And how we live our mental life determines our physical life here on this earth. He says here, everything in your life today, the state of your body, whether healthy or sick, the state of your fortune, whether prosperous or poor, the state of your home, whether happy or sad, the present condition of every phase of your life, in fact, is entirely conditioned by the thoughts and feelings which you've entertained in the past. And he goes on to say, the condition of your life tomorrow and next week and next year will be entirely conditioned by the thoughts and feelings which you choose to entertain from now on. And ladies, let's make this second half our best half. And to do that, we have to train this mind to work for us rather than against us. He says here, in other words, you choose your life. That is to say, you choose all the conditions of your life when you choose the thoughts upon which you allow your mind to dwell. Thought is the real causative force in life, and there is no other. He says we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. Then he goes into the nuts and bolts of the 7-Day Mental Diet, and he tells you what he means by a negative thought. Here's what he says. First of all, what do I mean by negative thinking? Well, a negative thought is any thought of failure, disappointment, or trouble, any thought of criticism or spite or jealousy or condemnation of others or condemnation of yourself, any thought of sickness or accident, or in short, any kind of limitation or pessimistic thinking. So we're trying to get rid of all sorts of those negative thoughts. Then he goes on to say that we're all human and that we're going to have those occasional negative thoughts, that will just happen. So it's not the thinking of the negative thought initially, but it's the dwelling upon that thought. And so basically what he says is the minute that thought comes in, watch it carefully and say goodbye thought and banish that thought. He says when a negative thought comes up, turn it out. Turn away from the newspaper or TV show. Turn out the thought of the unkind letter or stupid remark or whatever. When the negative thought floats into your mind, immediately turn it out and think of something else. Best of all, think of God and your blessings. And he goes on to say here that suppose you're having lunch with a friend and that she starts talking bad about somebody else, gossiping or whatever. He says you can listen to that, but he says just kind of listen to it as if you're almost not there and don't contribute to it and just let it pass. Just don't dwell on that negativity that's coming your way. And then another important thing about the 7-Day Mental Diet is it has to be 7 consecutive days. So you start out on day 1, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the second day, you find yourself dwelling on a negative thought, or you find yourself gossiping meanly about someone. You've got to stop right then, Give yourself a day or so to relax and get away from it, and then start again on your first day of your 7-day mental diet, because it has to be 7 consecutive days. That's what helps you develop the thought muscle and the true habit of thinking more positively. And one thing I noticed in this is that it was kind of hard for me when I started doing it, because I would have this negative thought come up and I would try to put it out, but then I would have nothing to replace it with. What I realized was that I needed to immediately switch that negative thought to a thought of gratitude and my blessings. And this is where he gets into the real nuts and bolts of the 7-day mental diet. Make up your mind to devote 1 week solely to the task of building a new thought habit. And during that week, let everything in life be unimportant as compared with that. If you'll do so, then that week will be the most significant week of your whole life. It will literally be the turning point for you. If you will do so, it's safe to say that your whole life will change for the better. In fact, nothing can possibly remain the same. And then he says, as a final word of caution, not to tell anybody else that you're on the 7-day mental diet. Just get through it yourself, because when you talk about it, it kind of dissipates the energy, and we've all done that. We've had this great idea to go on this, like a physical diet or something like that, and we started to tell everyone, and before you know it, we're dipping into the chocolate cake. And so the 7-day mental diet is no different. You keep it to yourself until you get through a whole 7 days. Then he says you can share this information with other people if you think it would help them. Now, I did this for 7 days, and it was tough to do, I have to say. I had to start over several times, and quite honestly, I probably never made it totally through the 7 days, but I'm still working on it. And it does become easier and easier as you develop this habit, as you develop this muscle of basically turning out the negative, turning away from the negative, and going to the positive. And one thing that I really found that I added to this, which was not in this book, is I had a hard time switching from the negative, because sometimes it was like, stop, think, and I just couldn't make myself do it, until what I did was, instead of just switching from the negative to nothing, I would switch from the negative and immediately think a gratitude thought, something I was grateful for in my life, something that made me smile and made me happy, and I felt like, that is a real blessing that I have in my life. This is just an absolutely wonderful little book, and if you suffer from negativity or pessimism, or you're going through some tough times, I can't think of anything better to do than to go on a 7-day mental diet. If you do it and you have some good results or some bad results from it, please put them down in the comments. I'd really like us to have a little dialogue about how we're becoming more positive and to encourage each other in this effort, because really in the second half, ladies, our time is more limited. And we really need to make every day, every hour, every moment count. And I wasted a lot of time at the beginning of my life in negativity. I really don't want to waste a second of the second half being negative. Now, if you're not a subscriber, I hope you subscribe and click that little bell. That just gives you notification of my future videos so you won't miss anything. Now, I always like to leave you with a little thought for the day, and I've been using this card deck, The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty. And let's ask God to help us to come to exactly the right card that we need for this day. Come on, God, do your thing. Give us something important. Oh, this is a good one. Accepting my imperfections. Accepting my imperfections. I need this one bad, ladies. Today I will tell myself that who I am is okay, and that what I'm doing is good enough. Of course, I make mistakes and get off track sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I'm not as good as everyone else. No one is perfect, and that's just fine. Ladies, this is a fantastic card. And in light of what we just said, let's not bring in any negative thoughts about that, because from now going forward, we can get rid of the perfectionism. We can accept ourselves as we are. We can realize that God made us exactly who He meant for us to be, and that He loves us no matter where we are on that path. And most importantly, hour by hour, day by day, month by month, you're here to have a fabulous second half. Take care. See you next time.